And it says we're live.
It lies.
Hello, world. Cedar, Sarah.
Holy gods, really?
Hey, Sarah's getting better. She was huffing and puffing after spending an hour in the kitchen today. Ah. Oh, it's one of those days.
Boy, howdy, no kidding there.
Trying to figure out where the hell to start. I guess the first one up, probably the Abraham Accords. Hey, David, good to see you. For those that aren't familiar with the Abraham Accords, that was what Trump basically initiated to bring peace to the Middle East.
All those folks that signed peace agreements with Israel, that
Yeah.
was the Abraham Accords.
Yeah. However, the current administration, Joel, because it still surprises us that people are willing to listen to us talk.
No kidding. Why?
Yeah. So anyway, the Abraham Accords had multiple people sign with the Israelis. The current administration is in the process of destroying that by wanting to bring Iran back into the fold. And that is causing major hate and discontent amongst a number of the countries over there.
Well, apparently another source of it is the Biden administration is strong arming the UAE into backing out the Accords.
Yes. And they are once again, the Biden administration, just like Obama and Biden did, are going after Netanyahu to try to keep him from getting reelected. Oh, we have a new guest today.
So what is it about interfering with elections? I think that was an evil thing.
Yes.
What-
Yes.
Except when Biden or except when the Dems do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can do it to everybody else, but they can't do it to us.
Yep.
I just don't understand why the Dems want a nuclear Iran so
I don't
badly.
I don't either. Why do the Dems care about Iran?
I don't know. The thing is, the nuclear non-proliferation agreement came about right after Pakistan got the bomb.
Right.
Yep.
And Pakistan and India have been at odds.
Forever.
Yes, and
Since day two.
the second that
Since
happened,
Pakistan split from India.
Yeah, day two.
the thing is, right after that happened, everybody, including the Soviet Union at the time, just said, you know what? Maybe everybody having nukes is not the best of ideas.
Yeah.
So,
And not wrong.
but here we have a political party in the United States that is actively trying to give the bomb to a rogue nation.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just a rogue nation. It's the fact that Iran is run by a bunch of psychopathic religious extremists.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a minor problem. Cedar says, we look forward to it. I have alarm set so I don't miss it. You're starting to scare me there,
yeah.
I
Cedar.
thought you were talking about Iran getting the bomb.
No.
Yeah, so did I. I was there too. He's looking forward to nuclear annihilation.
And
Okay, got it.
Steph has joined us, and Sarah, the other Sarah, is here, and Dawn is here.
Good Lord.
Uh,
Don't these folks have anything better to do than listen to us?
apparently not. And Joel says, at least somewhat corrupt. Yeah, corrupt. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. In other corruption news, I've got a list of shit today. Oh, damn it. 4 minutes.
4 minutes,
Ah.
10 seconds.
So,
Hey,
I don't know
wasn't
which
me
one
this
to-
time, though.
I don't
usually
know.
one that swears first.
I don't know which one to go to first. Do we go to the shootings or we go to?
I love we must demonize an entire subset of the United States for this atrocity in Boulder.
Yeah.
Well, he's Muslim.
He's one.
We can't demonize an entire subset of the population because it's tragedy in Boulder.
Have you noticed how suddenly we're having mass shootings again?
Yes.
We
That
didn't have them for 2 or 3 years.
now all of a sudden we're back to mass shootings.
I'm not saying. I mean, obviously, there's no connection between
Yeah.
Yes, it's just a
Correlation does not equal causation.
Yeah.
Exactly,
So
it's just a
Biden's
coincidence.
comment yesterday, I want to be very clear. This is one thing I do know enough to say on in terms of what happened there. While we are still waiting for more information regarding the shooter, his motive, the weapons, the guns, the magazines, the weapons, the modifications that apparently have taken place with those weapons involved here. Bah,
Wow.
Wow.
word salad. I don't need to wait another minute, let alone an hour, to take common sense steps to save lives in the future and urge my colleagues in the House and Senate to act.
Which means executive orders.
We can ban assault weapons and high capacity magazines in this country once again. I got that done when I was in the Senate.
What?
It passed.
Okay.
It was the law for the long. It passed. It was the law for the longest time. We should do it again. I will have much more to say when we learn more, but I wanted to be clear.
Right. Yeah. He's never been clear since he
That-
was elected.
Friggin' word salad, just
Yeah, it was a law of the land for 10 years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there were innumerable studies about the effectiveness, and every one of them came up with
Didn't make a difference.
didn't make a
Yeah.
damn bit of good.
No. No.
yeah. And Sarah says Twitter's going insane because of the fact he was white.
He's not though. He's Muslim.
He's actually a 21-year-old Muslim named Al Issa, who hated America and Trump, was on the FBI's radar,
Another one.
and had a couple of interactions with law enforcement. And oh, by the way, Facebook immediately wiped his page.
Because that his actual stuff did not fit the narrative.
Yep. And the narrative on the left has fallen apart yet again.
So let me get this
Oh,
straight.
Cedar makes a good point. Middle Eastern is now categorized as white.
Just like Hispanic was categorized as white after after Zimmerman? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Zimmerman.
Zimmerman.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. The Colorado shooter was a Muslim.
Yep.
The Atlanta shooter was not white.
No, he was white.
What
No,
the heck?
he was just bug nuts.
Yeah, he was bug nuts.
He was cuckoo for Cocoa
Yeah.
Puffs.
Yeah. So, and because of that, law-abiding citizens need to be disarmed
Yes.
Yes.
because we have a radical extremist, religious extremist,
Yeah.
and a bug nuts extremist.
Well,
Yeah.
I like the phrase interactions with law enforcement, and I will guarantee you, as retired law enforcement, this interactions with law enforcement went, oh my God, he's Muslim, don't do anything.
Oh Jesus Christ!
We'll get sued if you do anything, instead of tuning his butt up with a blackjack.
Yeah.
This is why there are enclaves in Paris.
Yeah.
That the police can't go into because
No
the
go.
Muslims
Yeah.
have taken over.
Ban loose.
Dearborn, Michigan.
Dearbornistan?
Yeah, Dearborn. It's
Whoa. Wait a minute. Cedar, what?
Uh-oh.
EEOC forms I've been filling out include Caucasian, Middle Eastern, and North African as white.
Well, I'm here to tell you that there's a bunch of barbers that
Uh,
are North African with blonde hair and blue and green eyes.
Yeah.
And
there's
Sarah
also some-
says, well, we can now switch out white Hispanic for white Syrian.
Yeah, there are also Moors out there that are blacker than
Yeah.
decks of cards.
Yeah.
And there are Moors that are blonder, paler than I am.
Yeah.
It's just
So, yeah. Good God.
so. What white stands for is actually anybody we can oppress.
Yeah, anybody we don't approve of.
Okay, that's what white is nowadays.
If you don't approve of Muslims, but you can't say that, if you change them to white, you can now
Yeah.
not approve of them.
Right, because then they're white.
If you don't approve of Mexican Americans, you can't do that. But if you change Mexican American to white, you're free to not
Yeah.
approve of them.
This, my friends, is white privilege. We have the privilege of being shit upon.
Yeah.
As often as they can think of it.
We are the only ones that are. It is pre-approved to get shat upon.
Yeah. Yes.
Just
Stephanie says it's now the federal categories. And Cedar came back and said, it's a way to be very, very racist. Yes.
speaking of institutionalized racism.
And the other Sarah says, Asians are now white adjacent. So,
What the fuck is white adjacent?
Yeah, because we were not allowed to call it the Wuhan flu or the China flu or anything like
Yeah.
that because that was apparently instigating violence against Asians.
I doubt that.
Yeah, don't.
Okay.
That's the narrative.
Yeah.
So now if they're white adjacent,
David Bach says the progressive left has considered my people, the Jews, as white forever. Yeah, that's the typical left. Yeah.
the left is very anti-Semitic,
Yes.
And I don't know why.
which is why because they're supposed to be the liberal, and the classical definition of liberal is inclusive.
I'm here to tell you that out in the Northeast, the Jewish population puts Democrats in office on a regular basis.
Oh yeah, no.
Same thing in Miami, and I have not figured that out for the life of me.
I'm here.
The guy I worked for in Tulsa was very much that kind of Jew.
That's just weird.
Yeah, I didn't understand it.
It's like Jews voting for Hitler.
Yeah, you look at their wrist, and they've got this 4 or 5 digit number tattooed there. Yet they are completely against guns.
Yeah, which is odd. That's really odd.
They are for centralized authority.
They're for the government having the guns, which worked so well the last time.
Exactly. And just like, did the tattoo not tell you anything?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Sarah Clithrow makes a good point. It's a great way to discriminate against a successful minority demographic, which it is.
But they're statistically speaking, they're no more successful than any other group of people. The only reason
the names are easy to pick out.
Yeah,
They're easy to spot. So that's what
what do most people think about the Jews?
Rich.
They think rich bankers.
Yep.
Except they're not. They're
I know that.
Yeah.
You know that.
But the stereotype is,
Now the ones that run the Jewish delis are do pretty good for themselves, but
oh my God, I love Jewish delis.
That's because they serve a really good product people are willing to pay through sinuses for.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Which is capitalism, which Democrats don't like.
Yep.
Again, I get confused. The Stockholm syndrome attached itself to an entire religion.
Now, back in the early 20th century, the Jewish ghettos tended to purchase from within.
yes.
The whole Made in America thing. So they would patronize their stores, which helped in their community, which none of the other minorities really did.
No.
So I mean, that's about the only difference.
Well, the only thing the Irish did was patronize the bars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's not be stereotypical.
Yeah.
Historically in Europe,
What? Stereotypical?
historically in Europe, the Jews faced a bunch of laws which restricted what they were and were not allowed to do.
So they got used to, patronizing within
Yes.
or patronizing.
And then they were also used during the same time frame. They were also used to do stuff that the dominant population was not allowed to do.
Right, which is why you get the money lenders.
Your money lenders, because
Because
the Arabs, Muslims weren't allowed to loan money at interest.
Yeah.
So they made the dirty
Well,
Jews can do it because
the early Catholic Church was the same way.
Yeah.
They had a prescription against money lending.
and then so the dirty Jews can do it because we don't care. They're going to hell anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So you wind up with you do wind up with a bunch of bankers because that's the only thing they were allowed to do for centuries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fancy that they turned into a banking family.
Well, yeah.
And when it comes down to it, when you need to finance a war in Central Asia, you really do need to have somebody there with money to back it.
Yeah. Then David brings up a good point. And he's actually Jewish, so this is really valid. There is a breakdown in Jewish people between those who came before the Holocaust and those who came after. The post-Holocaust Jews tend to be more conservative,
Which is odd.
which is truly odd.
Because the Holocaust was simply the latest in a series of pogroms in Europe going back centuries.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. And Andy says, now I need a pastrami and Swiss for dinner.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh.
Oh, God, no, I'm hungry. I'm jonesing for a Reuben right now. I'm sorry.
But
Yeah, Don raises a good point. Think about this context. Does it tie back to the communist socialist crap the left wants to push? If you're better at something as a population than others, then you must be knocked down. Yes, it's about knocking down
Oh yeah.
to the lowest common denominator.
Here's the difference between American society and socialist society. American society is we all start out equal.
Yeah.
Socialist society wants us all to end up
Yeah.
equal.
Yeah. Well, and that's the point too with the Asians, because the Asians tend to work harder and longer to be successful. I mean, I spent time in and out of Japan for 30 years. I saw 5, 6, 7-year-old kids taking the subway by themselves in Tokyo
Mhm.
Man, your common American Karen would lose her mind.
to go to their after school tutoring sessions, because to them, the education was everything. They would go through hell to get accepted to college.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, your American colleges, your application has to show a bunch of extracurricular stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to be involved in non-scholastic.
Yeah. In
clubs or
Japan,
whatever.
it's just the opposite.
Yeah, in Japan, they're like, listen, you're going for an education. How are you doing as being
As a
educated?
student.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's just a complete different mindset.
Well, that goes back to that meme that's been going around Facebook, posted by some blithering idiot.
Yeah.
That it was something along the lines of your bad idea about communism comes from your exposure to propaganda by the CIA.
Yeah.
No. Well, your hate for communism
Yeah.
comes from propaganda, CIA propaganda. My hate for communism
Comes
is
from
well
seeing
is
it.
well
Yeah.
earned.
This, which kind of begs the fact that the CIA destroyed Venezuela inside of a decade.
Yeah.
That's the only way to explain
That's-
Venezuela is if it's a CIA propaganda,
Yeah.
or maybe Venezuela has become this. What was the Black Panthers country?
No, Wakanda.
Wakanda.
Yeah.
That is bright and shiny and
Yeah.
decades ahead of us in
I-
technology. And
I have read history, so I hate communism. I got to sneak into a couple of communist countries,
Yeah.
so I hate communism. I have talked to refugees from communist countries in this very dining room a couple of times,
Yes.
so I hate communism.
Yeah.
CIA has those idiots have nothing. Pardon me, the CIA guys listen to this.
Yeah.
You're all idiots, but nothing but love.
Yeah.
The CIA idiots had nothing to do with it.
right, yeah. Well, maybe Venezuela is Wakanda now, and the CIA is just trying to keep everybody out.
Yeah.
David says, I took the subways in New York City myself from around the age of 10.
And the rats didn't carry you off.
Yeah.
Well, then he has a caveat, says that was back in the 70s. So,
Yeah, that's when they had the
Rats.
giant rats. Yeah.
Sarah makes a good point. It's ingrained in the culture of the woke. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and David agrees with you. History of communism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Academic excellence, yes, that is, and that's what a lot of people don't understand about the Japanese and the
They're-
Koreans and the
they're-
others over there.
They're OCD little shits.
Yeah, well, there is that, but to them, education is critical because that is the next stage of their lives.
Oh, why are you not doctor?
They do not go to college. To be accepted in college is a big thing for Japanese or Korean high school kids. Once they get to college, that's 4 years of screwing off because they're already educated at college level before they ever get there. That's why they excel when they come to the U.S.
Well, that used to be the case here in the States.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen the entry exams for colleges in the early 1900s?
Oh, yeah.
Holy gods.
No, I saw a math test
Yeah.
for a high school. And
Involving compound interest with
Yeah.
really weird starting numbers.
Yeah.
no. This was advanced mathematics. These guys were well into calculus. This was an entry exam for high school.
I've got a book sitting in there on my bookshelf from the late 1800s that my mother and dad used to become educated because Mama made it to the 6th grade, Daddy made it to the 3rd grade before they had to go to work.
Right. Yeah. And now
That book, I'm gonna guarantee you, I could give that to a high school kid today and they couldn't pass the questions in it.
Oh, no.
no.
Cedar says James Lindsay's new Discourses podcast is doing an in-depth look at the origin of woke and CRT.
Critical race theory is
Yeah.
just it's psychopathy in
critical race,
pretty in a pretty little dress.
critical race theory is responsible for the self-segregation that is going on now.
Yeah, what happened? When did separate but equal become what we were striving for instead of bad, don't do it?
Yeah, well, separately but equal was the cry that the Old South used to
Plessy
really,
v. Ferguson.
Yeah.
right,
Plessy
to keep it from integrating the schools.
Yeah. Plessy v. Ferguson
Yeah,
and Brown.
And now we've got them going, well, we want our own graduation ceremony.
Yeah.
Apparently, either 6 or 8 different graduation ceremonies at one idiot Ivy League college.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did you hear what the administration at the college said? They said, "Oh, well, we had separate graduations, but they were open to everybody."
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if I had tried to walk into the black graduation ceremony to get my diploma,
Yeah.
yeah,
And the funny part is the black friends that I had in DC and the black friends that I have here don't buy into any of that shit.
well, that's because they're not of that generation. I bet you if you went down and you talked to,
Well, most of them are retired military,
well, if you went
and
down,
the other ones are law enforcement. So
yeah, they're completely different culture. Yeah, but if you go down and you talk to black people that are in college now, they have been so completely indoctrinated into the
Yeah.
whole we have to hate you because you're different, which is just this intense xenophobia.
Well, let's face it. If you were to read Martin Luther King's speeches to
Yeah.
your average black high school student now, the hate you would get would be just,
Oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
The,
I have a dream.
oh God,
Yeah.
the
content of the character, not color or skin.
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. Although I bet you if you said I have some quotes from Obama,
Yeah.
and then read
Oh.
Martin Luther King to them, they'd buy into it.
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat.
Because they're not listening and processing.
No.
They're not thinking. They're just they've got their
Like I've said so many times, they're being taught what to think instead of how to think.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, David, we know Mona Lisa real well.
I call Mona Lisa my little sister.
Yeah,
We love Mona Lisa to death.
she's interesting when she gets drunk.
When she
Oh,
gets
God.
spun up, when you
Oh my
jam,
god, yeah.
when you pour a couple of White Russians into that little thing and get her spun up, it is
Oh yes.
educational.
And Richard, again, bringing up the military. If you look at the military training manuals from the 40s to the 60s, they were heavy on theory.
Mhm.
In the 80s, and I remember this because I was an instructor in the early 80s, we started going to comic books, and everything was computer-based training, and you could not use examples that you could not prove in writing existed.
Bonnie and Connie.
Yeah.
Of course, Bonnie and Connie, the TMs and FMs updates that had Bonnie and Connie were from the 60s.
I think the first time that comic books popped up as training was when they introduced the M16 and they realized they fucked up.
Yeah.
The
I used
funny-
to have that one where it said it must be cleaned 3 to 5 times a day in combat.
What?
Yeah, the original Connie or Bonnie FM update for the M16 81 stated it, because I used to have one and I would show people
Yeah.
must be cleaned 3 to 5 times a day in combat conditions.
Yeah.
The maintenance manual for all aviation assets in the Army must be written at a 7th grade level.
Sure, it's not 6th
No, it's 7th
because of you.
it's higher than the rest of the Army because we have to be smarter.
We don't. When I was an instructor, when I got to the staff instructor duty in '78, we were teaching at 11th grade level. When I went to commissioning in '82, we were down to a 9th grade level. Dawn brings up a point. When she was in high school, they had an exchange student from Hong Kong. That must have been interesting for that person from Hong Kong to be in Colorado. And she panicked when she got a question wrong. Yep, that's typical. Harvard is where the multiple different ceremonies were held based on ethnicity, income level, etc.
Yes, let's hate people because they're other.
Yeah, Dave, we've seen that a little bit of that at LibertyCon too, but not as much.
What have we not seen at LibertyCon?
Yeah. The cancellation, the MLK.
Oh,
Sanford says
I'm waiting
80's
for
third grade reading level required for all manuals.
I'm waiting for them to cancel MLK. I
Yeah.
really am. They've canceled everybody else, and for critical race theory to actually work, they need to get rid of the guys that fought for civil rights. So they're going to need to get rid of MLK. They're going to need to get rid of, strangely enough, Charlton Heston, because he was a big civil rights activist in the 50s and 60s. It's just,
Oh, David said the LibertyCon comment was about Mona Lisa. Yep.
Oh, okay.
She's getting intoxicated. Yeah. She might have done that once or twice.
it's just
Yeah, Sanford, you're right. The dumbing down has become amazing in the military. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Do you remember in Vietnam, they talked about McNamara's idiots?
Oh, hell. Of course, I can't get it where they can read it. But anyway,
That's the Connie manual on cleaning 3 to 5 times a day.
clean it 3 to 5 times a day in combat. Like that's really going to work.
And you know why? It's because the Army went with a different powder.
David says, I have a copy of the 6869 M16 manual, illustrated by Will Eisner.
I think that's the Connie.
Yeah.
I think that's the Connie Rod.
Will Eisner was Warner Brothers cartoons?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember correctly. But
Yeah, I've still got it somewhere. I had one of those so I could show, because I dug it out of my kit back when I was a moderator over at the fire mine, because the 3 to 5 times a day thing's a myth.
Yeah.
I've got an official U.S. Army DoD document right here. Scan.
the thing is, it wasn't just the U.S. Army, because I bought that book from Ian McCullum about French arms.
Yeah.
And they had a guy who's done British arms up through the bullpups, and one of the perks was they sent you the original manual they gave to the soldier, a copy of the manual that they were going to give to the soldiers on a rifle they never adopted.
Yeah.
And guess what?
3 to 5 times a day?
No, it's a comic book.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and so it's not just us; it was anybody from Europe, basically. I don't know.
Yeah. And Andy says, not just the military. When we send official government letters to the public, they have to be at a 6th grade reading level. But then there are still people out there who aren't well educated, and we can't pick and choose like the military can.
Oh no! Remember, because you were in during
which
that era.
military is picking and
Do you
choosing?
remember McNamara's idiots? That's what they called them. The McNamara dropped the minimum.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the entire military in the U.S. is kind of rolling towards that minimum.
No kidding.
And then everybody gets up in arms when the Africans recruit, 6 and 7-year-olds to fight their civil wars.
Well, that's
Yeah.
I was listening to some folks gripe. They were on recruitment duty when the whole thing in the sandbox kicked off.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how precipitously the recruiting standards dropped.
Yeah.
Used to be, if you had drug offense, you were no go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you had a felony conviction, you were a no go. Now apparently you're allowed to have a felony conviction and still join the military.
Yeah.
Remember, it used to be the judge would give you a choice.
Yeah.
Prison or the military. And then the military's like, wait a second, we don't really want these people.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it wasn't that. It was the fact that somebody pointed out, your involuntary servitude is against the Constitution.
Yeah. It's
Andy says the Social Security Administration is back to taking the name in a family Bible as proof of birth or a witness mark as a signature.
Are you serious?
Yes.
literacy rates have dropped to that point.
Oh, I know they have. Trust me, working in the jail.
Oh, I know. Oh, God, yeah. I guess it's just we used to tout that we had the highest literacy rate in the world.
Yeah.
But apparently, if you make your mark, it's become a thing again.
Yeah, but I mean, literally, there were a few of them that it would take me hours to figure out what in the hell they were.
Oh no,
Oh,
that's just penmanship, which got
No,
nothing wrong with
no.
that got stopped being taught.
Well, I'd like to see a correlation between the rise of teachers unions and the drop of literacy.
Oh, that's easy to prove.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see the graph.
Yeah.
Because when we had the school mom that was under an extremely restrictive set of rules and taught from 3rd grade through 12th, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Single room schoolhouses. Yeah.
And so we had people that were, well, but we've seen the math books.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The 8th grader needs to figure compound interest
Yeah.
starting at this month with this screwed up.
Oh, you know,
And how to fill out a ledger,
yeah.
bookkeeping.
You can track this because I think it was the Oxford English Dictionary. I think it was those guys, or it might have been the Encyclopedia Britannica guys that have been tracking the average vocabulary size of generation.
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
And so you can see like the guys in the 1800s might have had a 45,000 word vocabulary on
Yeah.
average, whereas modern humans have a 25,000 word vocabulary.
I don't think it's.
I don't think it's that
I
high.
don't think it's that high.
Well, fuck is about 10,000 of those. Let's
Well,
be honest. It's
I
not many.
I saw a study one time. I read a study a long time ago. They said the Shakespearean English average person, the average illiterate drudge in Shakespeare's time had a bigger vocabulary than the average American does.
Yeah.
I mean, if you listen, I posted on my blog a long time ago. This comedian doing the Three Little Pigs.
Yeah.
In Shakespearean style.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's glorious. But I played it for for some of the guys at the jail, not inmates, officers.
Yeah, and they couldn't
They
understand.
didn't understand half
Yeah.
the words.
No.
Okay, we beat that horse to the point it's filleted. We've stewed the bones. So
Is Biden's
Yes.
trips in there somewhere on that list?
Oh, his falling up the stairs?
Oh God, yeah.
no, that's he's old and broke. Anyway,
Well,
No,
that-
it's not that.
well, that actually leads into, yeah, Richard's got to throw one more in. Rhode Island does yearly contract with the teachers union every year and bets on how many strike days at the beginning of the year because the contract isn't signed on the first day of school.
Oh.
John Brayan was the one with the Three Little Pigs. Sarah Singleton said. Anyway, talking about Biden, he put the lid on at 1:30 yesterday and went radio silent.
That's because he was sunsetting at that point.
But what I wanted to get into next is the border.
Well,
Oh, you mean the one where Biden says, I can tell you one thing for sure, it's not.
Contrary to contrary to public opinion and the Democrats' comments, the border is not closed.
has Biden admitted it's a crisis yet?
No,
No, the only major news source that's using the word crisis is Fox
Fox.
News. Nobody else will use literally when we use the word crisis. It's that repressive. It's that
Yeah.
censored. Now,
yeah, yeah, him falling because of the wind, quote, quote. Remember when Gerald Ford fell?
Well, it's not him falling. He's old. He's got dementia.
It's gonna
fall.
happen.
What's annoying me is that one serious tweet that said Jesus fell 3 times on the way up to Golgotha.
Yeah.
Comparing Biden
To Jesus, yeah.
to Jesus, yeah.
Yeah.
that just argued.
Well, what got me was
It's not a crisis till AOC shows up.
the
Stop it, Stephanie.
the primary doctor for the last 3 administrations. That's Trump, Obama, and Bush.
Yeah.
Came out with a statement about Biden. He's worried about Biden's
Yeah.
ability to
To lead.
Yeah,
to adult,
to
but
function,
to
yeah.
lead.
Well, that's going to
Yeah.
start the 25th Amendment process right
Yeah.
there.
So anyway,
It's too early because
the Governor Abbott started something a couple of weeks ago called Operation Lone Star. Basically running, and that's probably why we haven't seen Tyler.
Probably.
I'm betting he's down on the border.
Maybe why I haven't seen DPS troopers out on 287 either.
Yeah. DPS troopers, game wardens,
State police agencies
state police agencies are down assisting on the border.
cycling through the
I
border.
thought he activated some of the guard units too.
I think you did.
Yeah, he did, but they're stand back.
Okay.
The guys on the border are making arrests, guys and girls on the border making arrests, both in human trafficking and drugs. And they are giving ride-alongs to the media, unlike CBP.
I'm sorry, I just have this picture of two officers sitting in front of the SUV and the CNN guy with a blindfold and earmuffs
Yeah,
in the back seat whistling to himself.
Yeah.
He didn't see anyone.
so they have made over almost 200 arrests. I think the one quote that I heard was 170 arrests, either for human trafficking or drugs. They've taken over $1 million worth of just marijuana off the mules coming across, a lot of whom were quote unquote unaccompanied minors.
That's something Mona Lisa posted.
Yeah.
On the TV yesterday, they showed a picture from MSNBC or CNN. There was a group of 8 or 10 illegals crossing, and every one of them was carrying a child.
Mona Lisa posted something along the lines of children don't know about immigration.
Yeah.
Right.
If you have children desperate to immigrate, it's because somebody fed them the line.
Well, I just find it funny that, I mean, there's probably hundreds
Everyone
of
was
thousands.
strapped to somebody's chest. That's
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
picture.
And I'm sure there's hundreds and thousands of families in Mexico that are
Wondering-
wondering what happened to our little baby
Yeah.
girl.
What happened to one?
Well, and is the from the DPS, not from the administration, their estimate is 9,400 kids in custody aged from 1 to 17 just in Texas.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
And Project Veritas got some insider photography from one of the pods, as they're now calling the cages.
Not transient migrant holding facilities.
Yeah.
No, when I was building that facility in Alvarez,
Yeah.
we called them pods.
Yeah.
But they were dormitories.
Now, these are still the wire cages.
What we're talking about now are the wire cages that were supposed to be temporary.
Yeah.
And they were only supposed to hold them for
72 hours,
6 hours. Yeah, that's it.
but they're supposedly max limited to 260 with over 400 in a single pod. The children have been held from 5 to a minimum, from minimum of 5 to a maximum of 8 days that they've documented.
Yeah.
And this was put out by Senator Cuellar, who is a Democrat from Texas.
Yeah, I was going to say.
My question is if Trump had said, because the Biden administration said that they want, no press down there.
Yeah.
You're not allowed press. If Trump had said that, there had been 3 buses rented, stuffed full of CNN, MSNBC reporters begging for blood and headed down there and would drive through the front gates and disgorge journalists everywhere. Biden says it, and they go, okay.
Yeah. Can you imagine how many more pictures of AOC we would have gotten of her crying over a fenced off parking lot?
Yeah, no kidding, right? I hope that's biting her on the butt.
Yeah. So what their plan of attack is,
Are you allowed to use the word attack? Isn't that kind of
oh, my bad.
You can
Is that
use the
kind of
word
aggressive?
reconquista.
good word? Good word.
Yeah. Is to move the teenage males to the Dallas Convention Center, up to 3,000 of them.
I thought they were going to put them all up in hotels.
No. We haven't gotten to the hotels yet.
There's my problem.
We have not gotten there yet. Just wait. Also, they're talking about using either Moffett Field in California or the San Diego Convention Center to hold all the ones coming up through California. We do not know how many of they have.
Yeah, because aren't they catching and releasing in California?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Or ignore and don't bother release.
Yeah.
It's just if they're just saying, "Go, my son, and prosper."
Yeah.
Why do they
Without
take
even a
anybody?
date
Yeah.
and no name, no nothing. And oh, by the way, not checking them for any kind of medical issues again.
Ooh, That's how they get them through faster.
Yeah.
When you show up at the border, you say, I have COVID, and there'll be a nurse with a wheelchair moving you somewhere else right away.
Yeah. Moving you to the bus station so you can get on a bus and go somewhere.
Exactly.
I heard on the news just before we started here that they're now talking about moving others into Fort Bliss and Fort Sam.
Oh, I got a problem with that.
Yeah, I got a lot of problems with that.
If I were, say, Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
I would make sure that that's where they were going to send me, because now I'm inside.
Yeah.
The military installation.
Well,
I like to have my fun.
and that's where people don't realize it's not just Mexicans, Hondurans, Guatemalans that are coming across.
It's illegal immigrants.
Illegal immigrants, they've caught Yemanis, they've caught Israelis, or not Israelis, Iranians,
Chinese.
Chinese, you know.
And Fort Bliss and Fort Sam Houston have a lot of TS plus stuff
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. Richard says Fort Bliss closed the range training facilities.
What?
Richard says they closed the range training facilities at Fort Bliss,
Which range?
the ones we were talking about earlier.
No, okay. There are multiple ranges at Fort Bliss.
Yeah, but if they closed all those range training facilities, then it means all those barracks.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, and David says pretty much people from every country in the Middle East except Israel. You're right.
Yes.
My bad. So anyway, in addition, now I will get to what you're talking about with the hotel rooms. Endeavors, which is a San Antonio-based organization, got what it calls family reception sites set up in hotels in Texas and Arizona, and they're getting paid $86.9 million for 6 months to provide a total of 1,200 beds.
This is your tax dollar at work, folks.
Yep. So we are paying for every one of those beds to get $389 a day in expenses to pay for the hotel, the food, and that.
How did
Okay.
that phrase go?
Huh?
Millions of dollars for Dangeld, not a penny for war.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a penny for defense.
Yeah.
Well, my
The
issue-
interesting part is, since I still happen to have access to per diem rates, I pulled up just for shits and grins the per diem rate for El Paso today. You know what it was?
Not $380 something.
Nope. $98 a day for hotel and $61 a day for meals and incrementals.
But you got to remember, the government will negotiate separate rates at hotels. I've bumped into that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so you'll ask for government rate. We used to ask for flight crew rates because the airlines would negotiate separate rates.
I know,
But
but still, they're getting more per day.
I guarantee you, these people that have set up the family welcome centers,
Yeah.
are running on government rates.
Yeah, they're
And they're
scraping.
pocketing the rest
Yeah,
of it.
Oh, yeah.
they're scraping. The cream
They're
off the
scraping a bunch off.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like the Lincoln Project,
Yeah.
1619
That's
Project.
one
I
of-
mean, it's all about.
One of the reasons I love Embassy Suites so much.
Yeah.
Is my per diem from the county for a hotel was $80. And anything else I had to pay out of my pocket.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'd go down to El Paso on the El Paso run, and the Embassy Suites in El Paso, bless their pointy little heads, would just charge me the $80 and said, "Don't worry about it, deputy. We'll just take the 80." God bless their pointy
Yeah.
little heads. I love Embassy Suites.
But the problem is that they're going to run into is every hotel that they put these people in, that hotel is going to have to take those rooms, strip them to the bare walls,
Burn the
throw
hotel
everything
rooms.
out that was in those rooms,
You remember what happened to
and rebuild it.
You remember what happened to the Katrina people?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Because the government started giving them credit cards to stay in hotels. They never left.
Yeah.
3-4 years later, I go to a hotel on a trip and I go, how many rooms do you have? And they go, we don't have any.
Yeah.
We've been booked up since Katrina because those people don't have to leave.
Yeah.
And there's no way for the hotel to get money from them. And these people from Katrina were trashing the rooms.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Literally just they would tear the walls out so they could get to the copper plumbing.
There was one hotel it was used to be a fairly nice hotel in North Carolina that literally, once they finally evicted the last Katrina resident, raised the entire hotel and built a brand new one.
Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. And this
Yeah.
is what's going to happen with these now.
Ah.
Because people are people.
Yeah. Funny story about that though. Hotels. I went to when I went to NRA in St. Louis and went to check into the Marriott up there. I go up, check in, get the room key, go up to the room, open the door. There's not a flipping thing in the room.
It's just bare walls.
It was bare walls.
Whoopsie.
Look at the key, look at the door, look at the key, look at the door, look at the. Yep, bare walls. Open the bathroom. Not even a shower curtain.
Was there a commode? With-
Yeah, there was a commode, but there was nothing else. Go back downstairs. The manager comes over, kind of looks at me because I still got my bag with me. He goes, "Is there a problem?" That's kind of half jokingly went, "Can I at least have a room that has a bed in it?"
Oh,
And he looked at me and said, "So what?" I said, "There's nothing in that room. Give me that card." Disappears and back, comes back. "I'm so sorry. Here, try this one." He says, "Matter of fact, I'll go with you to make sure this one's got." And literally walked me back up to the room, opened the door for me. "Yep, this one actually has furniture in it.
I would have gone
Thank you
down.
very
I
much."
said, "Hey, I'll need some towels and a couple of pillows and a shower curtain and some mattresses and a bed for."
where do I draw my bed?
But that was one of the
Reed and I stayed at the Millennium for the St. Louis NRA. We stayed at the Millennium. That was a damn decent hotel.
Yeah.
But the Rita crew congregated in the Millennium lobby, and those poor people, the poor hotel staff.
Hey, the bartender made a damn fortune off of us.
No
both
kidding.
nights.
We went staggering in there because we drove from Itchy Paw to St. Louis
Yeah.
in one day.
Oh, Jesus.
And
And
we
one
went-
day?
One day, we were staggering in there, and Jim looked up and saw us, and came over and said, "What do you want?" We said, "I want a martini." I said, "I want Irish coffee."
Yeah.
And the poor bartender made Reed a hell of a martini, but couldn't make an Irish coffee to save his life. I drank it anyway. And then I tipped him and I said, "Just keep them coming."
What's even worse was when Ian, a couple of Irish coffees in, went over, "Let me tell you how to do this."
Yeah, that's right.
I'm going to teach you how to make an Irish coffee.
And
Yeah.
he gave me kind of scored. Look, by God, we made an Irish coffee.
Yeah. And David says, "I know people in the hospitality industry, they all dread that kind of thing." Yeah, they do.
Dread what?
Uh,
Me showing up drunk?
No,
Oh.
the immigrants coming in.
Oh God. Well, we during the Katrina thing.
Richard says, "No black light lamp." No, God, no.
No, do
Never.
not ever.
Never take a black light with you on a trip.
No. We had the agency I was with. We helped some Katrina refugees, and one of the local Baptist churches donated their summer camp
Mm,
and the dorms of their summer camp. And summer camp, the Baptist summer camp was one of these out in the boonies things, canoeing and getting back to nature. And after the first day, we lost about half of our Katrina folks. We didn't have a one by the fourth day, and they stripped those dorms bare.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Anything to make a buck.
I mean,
I talked about the
copper wiring, copper pipes, everything gone. It was those. I felt so sorry for that church.
yeah.
I told you about the hotel that we used to stay in Jackson, Mississippi, when I was flying cargo. We
Yeah.
stayed at a downtown hotel,
Mhm.
and I can remember checking in, and I was walking with the other guy that was on my crew up to his room, and he opened the door, and there were 4 cheerleaders in there. And I looked at him and said, "I'll trade your room." Apparently, there was a cheerleader convention, and they screwed up the room number, so we didn't get to keep that room, unfortunately.
Yeah. Don says, "We have transient aid via the Ministerial Alliance up there in Colorado. And it's hard for the Alliance to keep the motels in town on board with the housing, the
No
transients,
kidding.
for a good reason.
That's
I mean,
it.
we're bad enough, but at least we're not wandering around the middle of the night drunk with no pants in your little town."
See, I had gone back
Think
downstairs.
for yourself and make no promises.
I had gone back downstairs and asked what the upcharge for the extra stuff in the room was,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and gotten thrown out of the hotel.
I just,
Louis says, signed in California hotel, how to use an American toilet. Yes, I've actually seen that in San Diego in a hotel.
No kidding.
just like the signs on how to use a Korean toilet in Korea.
Yeah. It's a hole in the floor.
I know.
Oh,
but-
look, there's a
but-
sink.
But there's literally a cut, outlines where you put your feet.
Yeah.
And then they still have to have instructions on the wall on how to use it.
See, that shows civilization because the Arab toilets, there you figure it out. Oh,
Yeah.
look, figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But figure it out.
Eventually, you will figure it out just from pure need.
And don't ask anybody because that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
They'll laugh at you and go, "You don't know how to use the 3 shells?"
Yeah.
And then they'll show you the wrong way to do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've been whizzing the bidet for the last 6 months.
Ow. 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 Ow.
Ah,
I love the one that was the trough on the wall. And this was in a country that was relatively upscale.
Yeah.
In a cafe that was relatively upscale. And there was a trough on the wall, which is not unusual for Africa. And I had occasion to haul butt down the alley of that very same, for reasons that shall remain unnecessary, and noticed that exactly where the piping for trough ended, there was a hole in the wall,
mhm.
and it was just draining into the alley.
David says one of his friends in hospitality told stories of refugees going to the bathroom in the hallways and outside because they couldn't figure out how to use the toilets.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or they couldn't figure out how to use the stove, so they're building fires in the hallway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also in parts of Africa, you can't throw the toilet paper in the toilet.
Yep.
Because it'll clog it up.
Yep.
So you throw it in a wastebasket.
Because that sandpaper that they have wrapped
Yeah.
around toilet rolls, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just that; is you can't flush it
Yeah.
Have a the,
Well, you can once, then block the entire toilet
and then
system.
run.
the funny thing is French rail stations had their toilets in the open area.
Yeah.
And so it was a trough that the men were peeing into, and the wall stopped at about mid chest.
Yeah.
So you got to look the other guy in the eye.
Yeah. So apparently, as people walk by, they can have conversations with you as you.
Yeah.
And Americans have issues with that. Well, there's a
Well, you remember Gordon's in London,
oh god, yes,
still had the
they-
feature off at the bar
yeah.
with a sign that says, please do not use.
Historical artifact. Please don't use this.
Hey, listen, after the 4th or 5th, yeah, I might have been tempted.
Well, there's a scene in the second Mummy movie on a train where they're trying to escape, and he goes to the bathroom and lifts the lid and sees railroad track.
Yeah.
Sees that. I've been on that train,
Yeah.
and that's exactly the way it is.
Oh, yeah.
That's the train I was on in Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at the lid and I was looking at the tracks rolling past me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, Sarah S. says, when we go somewhere new, my kids ask, can we put toilet paper in the toilet and can we drink the tap water? Yep. That's 2 good questions in Europe. Very much so.
Once I leave the States or England, I don't drink the tap water.
Yeah.
I don't drink the tap water in the States anymore. There's certain sections of the States I won't drink the tap water.
Well, we're not anywhere near Flint, Michigan, so
Yeah, no, there's other places, yeah.
Richard says, having to run from Fort Ritchie to Fort Huaracha,
Huaracha or Huachuca?
Huachuca by car and back. Driver was the only one armed and it was a revolver. Oh, joy. David says he's been on that train too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, everybody in the theater was like, "Oh my God!" I went, "No, they're in Egypt, all right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Paper and everything goes right down the hole."
Yeah.
And hits the splat as you go by.
Yeah.
And they don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
No. It's not like the train's going to be there in 5 seconds. So.
Yeah.
The next train, on the other hand.
Well, remembering somebody said I had to rock to break the seal on a C-130 when he hit the wrong friggin' lever.
Well, that's your own damn fault.
Yeah, no kidding. Lucky I didn't turn myself inside out.
Yeah, you could have.
That's a good way to fix your hemorrhoids.
Mhm.
Well, actually, no.
Sure, cure for constipation.
Yeah, well, there is that.
Except the fact that it would suck your intestines out at the same time.
No kidding. But you wouldn't be constipated anymore.
Yeah.
The word prolapsed.
Yeah.
They get used a lot.
Yes.
Ouch.
And Don says the water up there in town is now getting questionable, but you can still flush the toilet paper.
I mean, we got back to the States. When we were in Africa, we hauled these two water things, and they were about the size of 33-gallon oil drums.
Yeah.
And they had these four ceramic tubes that separated two sections.
Yeah.
And you poured boiled water, not regular water, boiled water. You had to boil it for 3 minutes
Yeah, into the top.
into the top, and then you drank what came out of the bottom. And it took a long time to filter through there. I mean, it was a
Because that filter was designed to get most of the stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just the way physics works.
Yep.
Yeah.
The tighter the mesh, the harder it's to screw it.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. We get back to the States, and we'd be in Texas for a month every year, and it would take me 3 weeks, 3 full weeks to get used to putting a glass under the faucet. And
Oh, come on. We're of the generation where our parents would yell at us outside the window, let the hose run for a second before you start drinking out of it.
I was about to say, but it didn't take any time at all. to
Wait a
drink.
minute, you got a warning? I never got a warning.
The only reason they said that is because it tasted terrible if you started drinking right away.
Well,
Because of the rubber or whatever they use.
we were in Texas, so if you drank it right away, you were getting blisters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
that's true. Yeah.
But I was going to say it would take me 3 weeks to get to where I could put my glass under the faucet. But day one, I'm drinking out of the hose.
Mhm.
That's just weird.
That's just the way we are.
Richard said when he was in Thailand, they had an Air Force officer robbed, killed, and thrown off the train. 2 weeks later, they found the body, buried him, and then notified him. 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
That's Thailand. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, we're about out of time here.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Folks, it's just, the more I hear about the so-called transparency of this administration, the only transparency that they have is none.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is transparent.
When you compare to the information coming out of this administration,
Yeah.
to what came out of, well, the fact that Trump wouldn't shut the hell up is a big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, the amount of information that came out of the Trump administration on everything.
Yeah.
Just how can it's like they bought into the Stalin era. Just tell the big lie often enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, David says, well, they're transparently corrupt. And
Okay.
Jono's response was transparent as mud.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. You're insulting mud there, Jono.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is a guy that threw the reporter in the closet. Is anyone surprised there's no transparency? Well, they made the promise. Of course, that promise, lasted about as long as, January the 20th?
Yeah, the number of lies that they've caught Pasecki or whatever her name is, trying to cover up for what the administration is doing, it's just amazing.
Sarah, Don is not the only one that's done that. Trust me, I've drank out of stock tanks before too. When you're in West Texas in the summer, any water, you don't care where the hell that water's been, you're going to drink it.
Yeah.
What was that?
If you're in West Texas, the middle of the summer, you're going to drink that water. You don't care where it's been. You're going to
die
drink
of
it.
dehydration.
Yeah. And you build up a pretty strong immune system.
Well, I've told people time and time again. I've got an immune system, a West African immune system that attacks squirrels in the backyard.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that really bothers me with the kids today.
They don't play in the dirt.
Yeah. I mean, I've got grandchildren that play in the dirt. They get licked by dogs.
Mhm.
They don't get a bath every 15 minutes. They get dirty. They stay dirty half a day.
You've got to stress test
Yeah.
a growing immune system. If you don't put a growing immune system through testing, when it finally finds a bad bug, it freaks out.
Yeah.
Instead of going, oh, I'm used to, I've got experience, I'm okay. If your first ever bug you experience is a bad one, your immune system will kill you.
Yeah. But what we're seeing is more and more children with more and more allergies, severe allergies,
Autoimmune disorders.
autoimmune disorders, because these kids have never been allowed to get dirty. They've never been kissed by a dog.
See, I've never heard of peanut allergies until the 90s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's this coming from?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's peanuts in everything when
Yeah.
I was growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently that's a thing to be
And-
allergic to now.
I'm really, one of the things that I was worried about prior to the COVID stuff, and I'm really worried about now, is the overuse of antibacterial everything.
Yeah.
Hand sanitizers, antibacterial soap, the overuse
Yeah.
of that is selecting for some really nasty bugs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's going to make MRSA look like
Yeah, no kidding.
flash in a pan.
Because nobody is using hand sanitizer properly.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Well, Johnny, you've always been the oddball.
That's putting it nicely.
Yeah. Well, she's got the peanut allergy.
I'm just going to
She
come
got
out.
full on nut allergies.
Yeah.
I'm just going to come out and say this now. You're lucky if I wash my hands after I use the bathroom anyway. So
Yeah.
using the sanitizer. I mean, come on, that's right.
Yeah. But you know, it's. I saw it in the 70s and 80s when I was working fire rescue, and that was when we started seeing the protected children.
Mhm.
You know, they were kept inside. You know, if their clothes got the slightest bit of dirt on them, they dunk the kid, give them a bath, put them in fresh clothes.
The first time I
Yeah.
saw a mother with a baby, and the baby, I saw this mother that had a baby in a park.
Yeah.
And she had one of those wet wipe dispensers.
Yeah.
And the baby went over, and I say baby, it was a teacup human,
Yeah.
so it could have been a toddler. I don't know the classes of teacup humans, but the baby went down the slide.
Yeah.
And went down the slide 2 or 3 times, came over just giggling, and she wiped that page, pulled a wet wipe and wiped the baby down. So,
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny, your peanut allergy was very rare in the 70s. I can remember one kid that I know of that had it in the 60s.
I didn't know of anybody that had a peanut allergy.
I didn't know
until now.
anybody had it. You know, like I said, until I was.
Well, and shellfish allergy. I never knew anybody with shellfish allergy.
Yeah.
And I've been around Malta, and half of my time in Africa was on
Mhm.
coastal countries where seafood was a major part of
But
diet.
hell, today, you know, a third of the people have got some kind of allergy to something.
Yeah.
And it's not just I puff up and go pink. No, this is get with the auto injector quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're going into anaphylactic shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's auto injector and ambulance allergy.
Yeah, Sarah, that kid with a deathly milk allergy, yeah, that happens.
My
Lactose.
baby sister had a milk allergy. That
Yeah.
was bad.
Well, the studies I've read say that our ability to drink milk from cows was one of the last adaptations that humans have done.
Yeah.
So milk allergies, lactose intolerance, not surprised about. But holy God, nuts! When we
Well,
were
I am,
hunter-gatherers.
because, you know, we used to drink unpasteurized milk right out of the cow.
But that they kept you from getting smallpox.
Whatever.
Cowpox.
Yeah.
Infected cowpox was
Yeah.
proof against smallpox.
Yeah.
And we've wasted another hour of your time, folks. So we are going to shut up, go away, and goat and sheep milk are much easier on our systems. Yeah.
Milk is milk.
Milk is
Yeah.
milk. Anyway, folks, y'all have a good day. Be safe. If you've got decent weather, get out and enjoy it. And we will see you on Thursday. Say good night, Ian.
What? Good night. Everyone be safe.
See, that's-
Remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't bet the sweaty stuff, folks.
Oh my God. Seriously?
Goodbye.
remember the old rule: don't come back until